right. So this is a review of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It's a film from 2010 that was released with terrible sales in the box office. Well, at least compared to its budget, because so it's a weird movie. It's not the Avengers. It's not Star Wars. It's not a big blockbuster. Same time, it just didn't go well. A lot of people found it kind of weird and everything, but with it getting on Netflix, now it's gained a new following, a new audience, cult classic, you want to call it that. So, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It's the story of Scott, a 20-something, who lives a very lonely life. It's really sad. First 10 minutes are just really explicit on showing you how sad and boring and terrible his life is. It's kind of depressing how realistic it is, actually. And then over the course of the movie, he meets this girl at a party and he likes her. And then she likes him back, and it's all good, right? But no, there's a twist. The twist is she has seven exes. Oh, they're really angry because they're exes. They're not dating her anymore, and they're like, "We don't want Scott to date her, so we're gonna ruin his life and kill him." And up to this point, it's really weird tonal shift from this mostly realistic rom-com of sorts to this now extremely action-packed, super flowing, just an action comedy movie. Now, there's a comedy within all of it, but now it's more action-focused, and it's really jarring, but the movie doesn't bring it up at all, and that's kind of the point. That's honestly the best part. It's really funny how they just have this over-the-top action, and then it's just normal life, and no one ever responds to it. And it's definitely purposeful. It's not, just them lazy writing or whatever. It's just for comedy's sake. And then, he fights these 7 exes as like bosses, I guess, of the movie. And then, at the end of the day, he gets the girl, obviously, how these movies work. But there's a nice little twist at the end, and I won't spoil it, but it's a nice little message, about yourself, about loving yourself. It's a nice little message for a comedy movie, especially a comedy movie. You don't expect much from comedy movies in terms of messages. Then the comedy. Speaking of the comedy of this movie, it's hilarious. Every scene had me laughing. I'm not super like mainstream with my comedy. I like my comedy very weird, and this is definitely a very weird movie for me. But I really liked it. It's just, and it switches all over the place. Sometimes it's just really subtle humor, and then sometimes it's complete satire, over the top, wacky comedy. It's crazy. And then, just over the course of the movie, the action and the realism, real life parts change a bit, but the comedy stays consistent. That's never gone. It's always funny. Even the most dramatic scenes in the movie, they're pulling out, just funny moments. The characters too. The characters are super memorable in this movie. I remember all of them. the vegan boyfriend, the actor boyfriend. They got this guy who, like, the first guy that fights him is just some messed up dude that's like, "Hey, come fight me." And when Scott's playing for his band, he's like, "What? Just come fight me." And then they just get into this giant action scene. And then from that, it just gets even more ridiculous with all the fights. It's super, it's a very weird movie. But it really benefits from that, at least in my opinion. Um, and then the style of the movie. The style is very pop culture focused. There's a lot of references to the current, not even current pop culture. Like there's they got like the music is very 80s game inspired. They got like the chip tone little remixes, and they got the Zelda theme remixed in a dream sequence. That's what I noticed the most. And then other than that, there's a lot of pop culture references, but like they're not in your face like most movies like this. They're very subtle. They begin and they end, and that's it. They're never referenced again. They're never a cutaway gag or something like that. It's just a scene. And oh, they're referencing Seinfeld. Oh, look at that. It's funny. Look at that. There's a laugh track at one part. Oh yeah, that's funny. And then it goes away. That's what they should be. Just simple nods, not an entire point of a scene. That's what I feel like he gets really right with the pop culture references in it. Because pop culture references aren't bad all the time, but most movies do them bad. And then the setting of the movie itself, it's set in Canada. It doesn't really provide that much to the movie. It's a very personal take for me, but I really like the snow atmosphere it provides. You get this cold, wintry vibe whenever they're outside in these scenes, and just that's the good stuff. That hits me in the feels. That's what gets me in terms of the setting. Yeah, that's my favorite setting: the winter, cold, kind of like his heart, symbolism of sorts. But then, I've been praising this movie the entire time. The only critiques I'd have are the pacing. The movie starts off really slow and builds up its characters, and it's excellent. That's excellent. And then it shifts into the more action-oriented part, which is the rest of the movie. But it's kind of jarring when they spend more time on these action scenes, which are way over the top, still really funny, and they spend less time on the characters, as much as they did at least the first 30 minutes. It's not consistent in that way. And so it kind of affects the pacing too. The pacing, the first 30 minutes felt like those were the best parts of the movie to me. It was just really weird, grounded, realistic comedy. And then they got all the boss fights, which are hilarious too. But just the action and then just complete realism. I think the fact that they don't mesh at all, they're like two separate movies of a sort, it kind of hurts the pacing in that way. Sometimes the action scenes happen back to back, and sometimes it takes 10, 20 minutes for another one to happen. And it just feels real jarring when they do sometimes. But other than that, I really have no complaints. It's entertaining. First off, it's a very entertaining movie. It held my interest all the way through the end. I already want to watch it again. It's really funny. The references, they reference some stuff, and it's not in your face. It's nice and subtle. It gets to the point, and then it ends it. That's the best. That's the best you can do with pop culture references. So other than that, yeah, I really have nothing else to say. It's a good movie. If I would give it a rating, I would probably lean more towards 5 out of 5 because the only gripe I have is with the pacing. That's really minor though, because it's an entertaining movie throughout. That's what a movie should be, and entertaining throughout. And if it does that, it's good. Yeah, it's really good. 5 out of 5 for me. Yeah. All right, that's my review.